This story comes from a Reddit user who swore he'd never share it again. It begins in a small town in Oregon, where a young woman named Leila had just moved into her first apartment alone. The building was old, 1950s construction, with thin walls and a damp smell that never quite went away. For weeks, she noticed strange sounds coming from below the floorboards, shifting, dragging, almost like breathing. At first, she blamed the pipes, then sounds started to happen only at night when everything else was still. One morning, around 2 a.m., Leila had something different. A low tapping sound right under her bed. When she leaned down and pressed her ear to the floor, she heard it again. Tap, 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 followed by a whisper. It said her name. She froze, then she did what most of us would. She convinced herself she imagined it. Until, a few days later, she found her toothbrush on the kitchen counter, wet, even though she hadn't used it. After weeks of fear and sleepless nights, she finally called her landlord, demanding an inspection of the crawl space. When the maintenance team opened it, they found evidence that someone had been living down there. A sleeping bag, cans of food, old photographs, and on the wall, written in pencil, was her name over and over again. According to Leila's post, police confirmed a homeless man had broken in months earlier. But the truly disturbing part, they estimated he'd been down there for at least 6 weeks. That means every night, while she slept just a few feet above her, he was watching. The user, a former truck driver, said it changed the way he viewed reality itself. He was driving through the Nevada desert late one night when the truck's CB radio started picking up a signal. Only he didn't have the radio on. Static filled the cab, then a voice, faint but clear. Keep driving, don't stop. At first he thought it was a prank, but when he reached for the radio, it was unplugged, completely dead. He described how the voice continued for miles, repeating strange phrases, sometimes whispering, sometimes almost chanting, keep driving, don't stop, you're not supposed to be here. He pulled over, terrified. The desert was silent, no lights, no signs of life. When he tried to start the truck again, nothing happened. That's when he saw, in the rearview mirror, a figure standing behind the truck, illuminated by the brake lights, tall, still, watching. He wrote that he blacked out from panic, and when he woke up, it was daylight. The truck started normally, the busy radio still unplugged. Experts say auditory hallucinations can occur due to exhaustion, dehydration, or infrared sound frequencies produced by wind against vehicles' tractors. But how do you explain the footprints? He included photos, faint marks in the sound, bare feet, no other vehicles tracked nearby. He ended his post with one line: I don't drive at night anymore. The final story comes from Our Paranormal, posted by a user who used to work as a night janitor at an abandoned high school in Ohio. The school was scheduled for demolition, but until then, he was paid to patrol the halls and keep vandals out. Every night was the same: empty classrooms, flickering lights, the hum of old air vents. Until one night, he saw something in the mirror that shouldn't have been there. In the girls' restroom on the second floor, he noticed a full-length mirror still intact. When he walked by, his reflection looked perfectly normal, except for one thing. There was a girl standing behind him. He turned, and nothing. He looked back at the mirror. She was closer. He described her as pale, almost colorless, with hair so dark it seemed to absorb the light, and her mouth was moving, but no sound came out. He ran, but when he reached the exit door, it was locked from the outside. He said he could still hear the faint clicking on her shoes following him down the hall, until suddenly everything went silent. The next morning, police found him unconsciousness near the front entrance. The security footage from that night was corrupted. Every file between 2 and 3 a.m. was static. But here's the strange part. In one surviving frame, you can see his flashlight beam, and behind him, a faint silhouette of a girl, smiling. 3 stories, 3 encounters that defy logic, science, and reason. If you ever experience something you can explain, leave your story in the comments. I read every single one. And remember, the next strange sound you hear tonight might not be in your imagination. Sleep well.